Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Jacqueline, I'm an interior designer, and today I'm breaking down how to decorate in the Ralph Lauren Christmas trend for this festive season. Now, if you've been living under a rock, you wouldn't have heard of the Ralph Lauren Christmas aesthetic, but it basically went viral on social media and it's looking to be the top Christmas decorating style for this year. And it's become so viral online that people are actually starting to reject it, and I'm just like, yay, another video essay we didn't need. Call me old-fashioned, but I just really don't think it's that deep. I don't know. Of course, brands are going to try and sell aesthetics year on year, that's their job, but at the end of the day, it's just a silly Christmas decorating style that's supposed to be fun and joyful. Why does there need to be so much controversy surrounding bloody Christmas decorations? And something to keep in mind is we're often not looking for a new design trend, but just longing for some nostalgia. And I think that's why this design trend has gone so viral, because it's quintessentially traditional and originally came about in the early 80s. Well, at least, the Ralph Lauren aspect. The only bit of beef I have is that it's not a Ralph Lauren Christmas, it's a traditional Scottish Christmas. Why is no one saying the obvious? And as someone who lives in Scotland, saying this is a Ralph Lauren Christmas is highly offensive to me. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But nonetheless, it's still a beautiful style, so if you love this trend, then grab yourself a cuppa and some biscuits, and let's explore how you can achieve this look for this holiday season. I was intrigued as to why Ralph Lauren design has so many Scottish elements, so I did some digging. And the New York Times wrote in 1991 that for Ralph Lauren, tartan is not just a fabric, it's a way of life. Which is also the year that saw Lauren unveil a mahogany chest with tartan drawers, part of a 9-piece furniture collection, inspired by his own personal 19th century Scottish trinkets, so I thought that was quite enlightening. And not to mention in 2006, when his tartan-themed Highlands collection walked the runway. And over the years, they've partnered with different Scottish mills to produce an array of garments like Johnstone's of Elgin and Harris Tweed. Tartan has always been a key component to the brand. So I think Ralph Lauren himself was initially pretty inspired by Scotland, because to me this looks like the interior of any Scottish Highlands castle. So I'm sure he would have done all of that kind of exploring whilst he visited here, and over time the traditional Scottish style has just kind of become the hallmark of Ralph Lauren home. The base for any Christmas decorating is of course the colour palette. And I think with this Christmas trend there are 3 main colours that stick out to me. Deep forest greens, classic navy blues, and deep burgundies. These darker tones create that cocooning fireside ambience Ralph Lauren interiors are famous for. Elegant yet a little moody, which I personally think is undeniably cozy for the holiday season. Now of course your home might not be made up of those colours, you might have neutral walls or brightly coloured ones, but by bringing in those 3 main tones, your space will shift into a traditional Christmas colour palette. And of course, no traditional Christmas palette is complete without metallic accents. For a very traditional look, I would actually look to using silver cutlery and home accessories. I think silver really fits that nostalgic look we're all trying to achieve with this style. But more recently, gold and aged brass have become incredibly popular, and I also think gold fits perfectly with a Christmas design in my opinion. But either or, it just depends on what you're looking for. Moving on to the main event, the Christmas tree. Now, for a Ralph Lauren inspired Scottish Christmas, the tree should feel classic and just a little bit nostalgic, like it's been in the family for generations. So with this style, there's almost always a traditional tree with warm white or yellow lights. The fuller and more natural looking, the better, because this style celebrates authenticity and that cozy lodge-like charm. Either a real tree or artificial tree, it doesn't matter, but make sure that the colour is just that kind of rich, deep green. However, that being said, if you're someone who loves to fill up their home with multiple Christmas trees, you can also include a burgundy tree for that extra wow factor, and in case you just want a different tree aside from the traditional fir tree. I think where people go wrong is that they don't know when to stop decorating. Like this tree, of course it's beautiful, but it's not really the traditional Ralph Lauren style, which is a bit more understated, and I think it's that understated quality that has made it be able to stand the test of time. When it comes to actually decorating the tree, lean into rich, heritage-inspired tones. Deep reds, hunter greens, navy, and some golds here and there create that signature Ralph Lauren mood. This is also where tartan can make a subtle appearance, maybe through ribbon woven into branches or baubles, or even a few burgundy velvet-wrapped ornaments themselves. If you decide to not go for the tartan ribbon, instead use red velvet bows to tie on the branches. I think you always need some kind of fabric elements to the tree to create layers, and I also think it really helps to add to the fullness of the tree as well. As for the tree topper, I think that's really personal to you, but I've seen this year a lot of people just leaving them bare. That's a new trend. Also decorating with a large bow on top, traditional star of course, or simply berry sprigs tucked into the top. It doesn't matter which you choose, but the overall effect should feel warm but slightly grand, exactly the kind of tree you'd expect to find in a Scottish country estate at Christmas. If you do use an artificial pre-lit tree, you can make them feel more traditional by using these scent sticks. They just really help to make the tree smell like a real fir tree. And I can honestly say that they smell heavenly. And that scent of a real Christmas tree, I think, adds to the timeless quality also found in the trend. If we move on to textures and patterns, it's almost impossible to not talk about tartan, or plaid as some of you might say. I've already talked about how Scottish design is interwoven into the Ralph Lauren image, and tartan is a key feature. If you're unaware, for those history buffs out there, in Scotland a tartan pattern actually resembles a Scottish family, or clan as we call them here, kind of like a coat of arms. The clan tartan system links specific tartan patterns to certain Scottish families, serving as a symbol of heritage and identity, and this system has been going on since the 1600s. Today there are about 3,000 distinctive patterns called sets on the Scottish Register of Tartans. These are my family tartans, and what's funny to me is that the Kirk one is already very Christmassy already, very on brand, and there is actually an official Christmas tartan on the register as well. And the Ralph Lauren brand themselves have said that they use the Stuart, McWilliam, Gordon and Blackwatch tartans for their products, so look for tartans that are similar to these. I think that the classic plaid patterns with their rich reds, deep greens and occasional navy instantly evoke a Christmas feeling without feeling over the top or gimmicky. There's something about the intersecting lines and warm colours that just shouts cozy holiday gatherings, fireplaces, country lodges and woolen blankets draped over a sofa. It's also a pattern I think feels inherently timeless, and I think that's due to its wide-spanning history. So by weaving tartan into your home, see what I did there? You instantly add a sense of history and heritage. The other texture found in this trend is velvet, and it's always maroon or burgundy. Velvet has this incredible ability to elevate a room. And when you choose a rich burgundy, it feels both lavish and inviting. Think plush velvet cushions, a velvet tree skirt, and lots of velvet bows on your wreaths. When you mix tartan and velvet, you get that signature Ralph Lauren contrast, traditional meets refined. As a side note, if you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a like and a comment. I really appreciate that. I read every single one, and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. Artwork also plays a role in creating a Ralph Lauren Scottish Highlands atmosphere, and I think it's the easiest way you can shift the mood in a room. Recently, I've seen a lot of people incorporating paintings into their Christmas home, just by dotting them around the house, so that's something you can do to achieve this look in case you don't want anything permanent or too in your face. And for this look, think pieces that evoke heritage and a sense of place. Classic equestrian prints, vintage landscapes, old hunting scenes, and portraits with a slightly moody historic feel all fit beautifully into this style. Framing is really where the magic happens. Go for either dark wood or antique gold to tie into that warm traditional palette, or silver if you've decided to stick with a traditional Christmas. When it comes to designing a tablescape to capture the Ralph Lauren Christmas aesthetic, emphasize the colour palette. You can choose green, burgundy, red, navy or midnight blues as your base, but for this example I'm going to use green. So start with a plain green tablecloth. I would then add a corresponding tartan runner down the centre and find matching napkins for this style. From there you can build up your layers in a way that feels natural and inviting. Small USB charged lamps really make the table feel intentional and designed, almost giving it a restaurant quality. One of the most charming parts of this look is the centerpiece. Don't really think overly polished, instead more natural and abundant. Add a large natural looking garland to the middle and make sure it's filled with red berries. Match the napkin holders to the garland if you can. Your dinnerware and glassware are where the richness of the palette can really shine. Choose plain white plates, or for an even more traditional look, choose from the Spode Christmas range. Place these on top of gold antique effect charger plates. These will bring in that warm glow that Ralph Lauren spaces are known for. Cutlery should match the colour of the chargers, so choose brass. For the surrounding glassware, choose cut glass tumblers and flutes. For a finishing touch, dot around tall burgundy candles in glass candle holders to bring together this Christmas tablescape. I think the goal is to make the table feel layered and a bit luxurious without becoming overly formal. Keep it grounded by focusing on traditional Christmas elements. If you have a lovely dark wood table, I actually wouldn't cover it with a tablecloth. I would just leave it bare to let the wood really shine, and I think an exposed wooden table is leaning towards a more traditional Christmas anyway. Lighting is honestly one of the most powerful tools in recreating that Ralph Lauren ambiance. It's what makes the whole space feel warm and intimate, like you've just walked into a Scottish Highland lodge on a snowy evening. For this Christmas style, think scalloped edged table lamps with a velvet trim, tartan lampshades, brass candle holders and sconces. I believe TK Maxx had these tartan table lamps which kind of went viral themselves. Candles are another must, whether you use real flame or use really high quality LED candles. The flicker instantly brings warmth and character to the room. Something that was huge in the 90s was floral arranging. Now, not that we don't love flowers now, of course, but I just kind of feel like it's a dying art form in the sense that we don't do it the same way we used to in terms of decorating our homes. So thinking about the traditional qualities found in Ralph Lauren home, floral arranging, centerpieces and garlands have a huge role in recreating this Christmas style. The style leans heavily into natural woodland-inspired elements, nothing overly polished or fussy. Think arrangements that feel like they were gathered from the countryside just outside a Highland lodge. Evergreens like spruce and pine are your foundation for garlands, and their rich deep green colouring instantly adds authenticity to the space. Add burgundy bows to elevate the wreaths even further. Place 2 outdoor potted trees beside your front door to immediately set the mood for what's to come once you walk through the door. I really like the idea of having small flower arrangements dotted around your home, mantels, sideboards, entry tables, even windowsills. They're the perfect little spots to bring in some greenery. If you want to bring in the Ralph Lauren sophistication, I would use red rose arrangements with cranberries and holly. Deep reds and those sprigs of holly add that slightly rugged, wintry charm. You can also add in pheasant tail feathers for that country lodge feel. If you don't want to create an arrangement because it's just not your kind of thing, fair enough. I would actually recommend an amaryllis. That's the perfect backup choice. I hope I said that correctly. Those richer floral notes contrast beautifully with the rustic greenery and make the whole arrangement feel more intentional and high-end. Aside from the actual Christmassy pieces, I would actually recommend also decorating your home with things that don't necessarily scream Christmas, but more evoke a Scottish interior. One of my designer secrets is to layer in antiques and vintage-inspired pieces. These pieces bring a sense of history and that sense of lived-in charm, and that's what really makes a space feel warm. Some suggestions I have for you are brass candlesticks, leather-bound books, vintage mantel clocks, tartan throws and bedding, binoculars, crystal decanters, teddy bears, gold and glass hurricanes, large wine coolers, ginger jars, Moroccan thuya wooden boxes, brown leather trays, stag antler motifs, horse figurines, a backgammon set, and of course Ralph Lauren books. Little touches like these create a sense of history, as if your home has been celebrating Christmas this way for generations. Don't forget about scent. It's an accent too in its own right. A room filled with the fragrance of pine, fir, clove or cranberry notes will immediately transport you into that wintry Scottish countryside atmosphere. As an interior designer, one way I think you can elevate your Christmas atmosphere even further is to match the wrapping paper to your design scheme, just in case you want to be really extra. So that's my tip for Santa and his elves. For this style, think rich, classic and moody colours. Deep tartan papers are a perfect starting point, especially in traditional patterns like black watch or red and green. Finish them with velvet, block colour bows. For a very on-brand look, try and find paper with teddy bears on it. Or if you prefer something more understated, try solid wrapping paper in burgundy, green or navy. The key is to keep everything feeling elegant and timeless and finish with a tartan ribbon. Adding small natural elements like a sprig of pine, a cinnamon stick, or even small bells gives the gifts that rustic Scottish countryside charm without feeling overly crafted. A Ralph Lauren Christmas style, I think, makes the home feel cozy and traditional and effortlessly elegant. And I think it's a perfect trend for this year because it brings about comfort, nostalgia, and a sense of enduring style, which is what so many of us crave during the holiday season. Please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate that, and it does help to grow the channel. And if you need help fulfilling your own design dreams, I've left our website in the description. I hope that the video showed you how to recreate the charm found in Ralph Lauren interiors, and also some ideas to bring in that cozy Scottish elegance into your own home. But that's it for today's video, guys, and let's bring on Christmas. Bye!